Craig. This is our first ever podcast here at TLC. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited to have these conversations with you, to share this information with both our agents and really the world. Let them know who TLC is, who you are, and who the team is. So I think a great place to start is, how about just introducing yourself and telling our listeners and those watching this on YouTube who you are?
Yeah, I'm real excited for this. This is going to be a lot of fun. My name's Craig Villwock. I'm one of the owners of TLC Insurance Group. The other owner is, as you know, probably my twin brother. We're identical twins. And so we're really excited to get this going and having a podcast regularly to show kind of what we do and what makes us different in the Medicare industry, not only for clients, but also for our affiliated agents and agencies as well.
Yeah, it's awesome to be part of your team here. I've worked with you as an affiliate agent for many years, I think almost 10 years, but to be here on your team and to be able to do these with you is really awesome. And this podcast is going to be so fun. It's just going to be great to be able to tell things that sometimes people might only hear at a conference, or when they get to see you at the home office, or if you're out in the field with them. They're going to get to hear your wisdom and really the wisdom from our team here on a much more regular basis.
Yeah.
So I think a really good place to start is, let's talk about TLC. How'd you guys start? How did you become one of the fastest growing independent FMO NMAs in the country? Let's hear a little bit about that story.
We've been really fortunate, honestly. You know, we grew up in the Medicare field. My twin brother and I, Chris, we got into Medicare like as soon as we left college. And I went into business management, and Chris went in for education, and our paths led to answering an ad for a sports-minded individual that our mom kind of sent us to. And, it was doing insurance, and that company didn't quite work out, but we went straight into Medicare, and we loved it from day one. So we worked in the Medicare supplement field for about 10 years for one company. It was a captive situation where we worked for one, sold very few products, and did very, very well. So Chris and I were two of the top in the history of the company after 10 years. And we just saw things starting to move in that field a little bit. And especially with that individual carrier, they were getting priced out of the market. And so we had a couple hundred agents working with us at that time. And everyone was kind of dying on the vine a little bit. It was getting tough to make an income. So we had to figure out something to do. And it wasn't happening there. So we ended up starting a national brokerage. And that's kind of where TLC came about. And we decided to go national from day one. And we had a little bit of backing because we were very successful going into that. And so we started day one with a couple hundred agents that followed us with TLC Insurance Group. And we were pretty much national from day one. And since then, because of the philosophy we have, and because we've done it from the ground zero ourselves personally, a lot of the things that we bring to the table for our partners, our agents and affiliated managers that work with us, are exactly what we did. And so we can teach from experience. And when people ask us, like, what makes TLC a little bit different than other agencies in our level, there's only so many at the top level in the country. I can point to one that's really glaring and pointing right out to why TLC is successful is because we've done it and we still do it today. So we can teach agents not only to be successful in the Medicare market as salespeople, but also how to grow a business. And that's very important in today's society because anybody can do this business of Medicare. Literally anybody. Like, we have a lot of agents and they're from all different backgrounds and education, and anybody can do this business if they simply work. But to be exceptional at this business, you have to be a good business owner as well. So we train on that a lot, and we bring some additional stuff to the table that I think other uplines don't look at or sometimes don't really care about. So we see it as this, the better our downline agents and affiliated manager and agencies do, the better we do. So our 100% focus is what's best for them. And if it's best for them, then it's also in turn best for us as well.
Yeah, really well said. And I think it's important just for our listeners to talk about the timeline. So how long have you guys been doing this?
Yeah.
And over that timeline, what were some of the factors that made you as successful as you are and made managers like the ones that I cooperate with in the field and some of our large national partners want to be part of what we're doing here at TLC.
Yeah, we've made some decisions that I think are important. Number one is we've decided to stay independent, and that's pretty rare these days. We stayed independent for multiple reasons, but because of our age, one of the main reasons, and because we've seen what happens when people sell out or agencies sell out, and things change a little bit. Not that that's a horrible thing, because everyone owns their own business; they can make their own decisions, but it's been our decision not to, because we've seen it hurts people affiliated that in our downline, working on our home office, people that have trusted in us. And, what we've also seen is that a lot of the attention and focus on helping downline agencies and agencies grow kind of changes when there's less incentive for the top of the tier who's already sold out and doesn't have any growth incentive anymore, or very, very little. So we've made all those decisions because that's what we would want if we were in their shoes. We would want to have somebody that, trusted to work with us and has been partners with us and been very loyal to us. We want them to be loyal back to us. And that's exactly what we want. That's the way we treat our people, anybody affiliated with us. So we're going to remain independent. And I think that's the right thing to do, not only for us, but for everybody who's affiliated with us as well. Another thing that made us kind of unique is the way we look at business. And Chris and I have always been very competitive, so we were fortunate to play college athletics and won a national championship in football and got all kinds of awards for All-American and stuff like that. But it was always like striving for the very, very best. And that just led right over into TLC Insurance Group. And, now we're thinking big. And so we train on that all the time, even as business owners. We're like, okay, make smart business decisions, but let's think big. Anybody can hit singles. Let's swing for the fence a little bit too. So we have some niche marketing that is very, very popular and very, very successful. And it's kind of like knowing the changing Medicare market, because it has changed a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. Started back on Part D, a while back, and that was a huge change. And then all of a sudden we get into COVID and some more changes, and the reimbursement rates from Medicare, more changes. The carriers are being forced to make changes that they had no idea how that would even affect their plans. So there's lots of change. And where there's change, there's always opportunity. So being able to lead from a position and teach people, like, here's where you look, here's where you go, here's your target area, and then help as many people as you can get through this turmoil, because their plans are changing and you need to be out there running and doing that. Just teaching them how to be good business owners and make wise decisions on where to focus their marketing money and stuff like that. And then give them ideas. One of the great things about TLC nationally is we share ideas amongst all of our managers. We just did a huge Nashville training with our management there, and it was awesome because we have some of the very, very tippy top producers, not only agents, producers, tippy top producers in the country for Medicare, but also agency managers who are tippy top producers there too. And everybody shared what works in California and what works in Texas and what works in Ohio and what works in Florida, what works in North Carolina, and all the way across the middle. We were able to share ideas, and everybody walked away with so much wealth of knowledge of here's what, maybe they're going to go home and take a few of those things home and do that. So we're like a family. And I think when agencies and agents join TLC, it is like a family. And I hope that, and I think that they feel the exact same way too. So the niche marketing has been a big deal. And, one of the things that has brought us to that is the employer marketing. And I know that you guys have done some of that as well in your agency. So tell us a little bit about how you guys got into that too.
Well, we learned it from you guys, just like everything else. And just on that last comment that you made, I think from my viewpoint, what makes TLC so successful is you are family owned. So it is a family culture. You and your brother do what you say you're going to do, which is exceedingly rare in the world and in this industry in large. I just recruited an agent this week who had been in the life insurance world.
Yeah.
And it's all flash in a pan. You're going to make $1 million. You're going to get a Ferrari. You guys don't lead that way. I would compare you guys to some of the great coaches that I've known, because you're players first, like you said, your agents first, but then you coach, you teach people the strategies, and you taught us how to do the employer group approach. And My partner Dave and I were able to take that to the national level with a huge entity.
Right.
And that all came from the support and coaching that you provided us as downline agents.
That's right.
And for anybody listening, here's the most important part. When we needed you, you were in the room with us.
Heck yeah.
You weren't sending us a one-page flyer and saying, hey, good luck, guys. You took your time, multiple meetings, many, many, many phone calls to help us grow that opportunity.
Right.
And
we want to do that for all of our affiliated agents and agencies, especially on those big opportunities. As you know, we train agents and agencies how to get into the big opportunities, the ones that will provide them with exclusive, guaranteed, ongoing lead sources forever. And that's the employers and unions that we work with. So, it's giving and creating a huge marketing opportunity for people just to make their life easier in this business. The Medicare world is changing. So leads are not what they used to be. CMS is changing. So there are restrictions on how you can market, where you can go, and what you can do. It's like confusing for agents. Like, what should I do? I'm like, here's the deal. It's never wrong to have a Medicare beneficiary call you looking for what you're selling, ever. They're looking for your help. You're allowed to help them. So let's create as much of that as possible. So we talk about all the time. We're like, get your phone ringing, get your phone ringing, get your phone ringing. People get tired of hearing that. But it's do whatever kind of marketing it takes to get your phone ringing from people calling you looking for what you're selling. And the easiest way that we know of that, the biggest way, is going through the employers and unions and groups, because the turning 65 lead is still good. A lot of agents are very successful with that, but the amount of percentage that is returned on those 65 leads now are turning 65, whether it's 6 months prior or 12 months prior, it is greatly diminished, especially since COVID. Really, the last 3 or 4 years, it's went way down. And so the returns there, the investment's not as profitable for agents. So they have to like, what's going on with that? Well, a couple of things. COVID, there was a ton of marketing. That's all you could do. So people are oversaturated with marketing. Like, I can't take any more marketing. So garbage, everything they get. And that happens with the leads that agents are sending out too. But also, there's a fear factor a little bit amongst seniors and the Medicare beneficiaries themselves. They are working longer because they're afraid of what is going to happen once they retire, especially with their healthcare, their number one concern. And that's the number one thing they worry about. So they're working to 66, 67, 68, 69 years old. And it's mostly because of healthcare. Could be a little bit because of inflation as well. But regardless, we see many more people retiring at age 66, 67, 68, 69. Here's the crazy thing. There's no way to target them on the leads. You can't buy leads from any kind of lead vendor that targets the newly retired 67 or 68-year-old. Those don't exist. If they did, it'd be great. But you can't target those because you don't know. The only way you can get in touch with those, which are pretty much guaranteed solid leads, is to go through the employer and create relationships with them. That's what we train on. So we train agents and agencies all the time, like, create your relationships. We have all the marketing supplies. We have all the what you say, what you listen to, where you go, what you do. We train on every single step of the way. And then, like you said, especially on the bigger ones, we have some of the largest national employers and unions in the country exclusively to TLC on contract. But it's because we do what they need, and agents sometimes they'll like, I'm afraid to go sit in front of 4 or 5 HR professionals from a company, and like, that's okay. We're going to be with you.
Yeah.
We've done it a million times. So we just ask them, like, go out and, find the people who are interested, and then we'll come in and help you create that relationship with that employer and bring a huge service to to everybody who works with them and their retirees at no cost for them. So it's a great marketing opportunity for agents and agencies. And, we've been lucky to, basically create huge opportunities with many employers and unions across the country. And they've been profitable for not only us, but also for them for many, many years already. So it's exciting. And agents love it. They love getting into that market and, swinging for the fence a little bit, and being successful when they hit it.
Yeah, I would say here that word relationship is paramount. That I see that in our marketing and what we teach agents to market and how to market. I see that in our inter-office engagement, but also with how you work with agencies across the country. I know we use the words upline and downline, but recently you and I had a conversation about trying to change even that language a little bit to
Right.
you're an agency owner,
Yeah.
and that just shows your mindset. So you want to help the people on your team from top to bottom
Right.
grow and be successful. So what drives you to want to help them? What do you find to be the most rewarding thing about working with all of these agents and agency owners all across the country?
It's a great question. We get asked that a lot, and it's a pretty simple answer for me because we've talked about this a lot too. And of course, when you're in this business, you can become very successful. And anybody who stays in the Medicare business more than 2 years, you're going to be able to pay all your bills. You're going to be able to take care of your family. You're going to change your family's life forever. And bringing that opportunity to agents, affiliated agents, and we do call them business owners because they run their own business, and we teach them that from day one. Run your own business. The biggest benefit that we get out of this entire business is bringing in a new agent or even an agency and seeing them at one level, and then once they've been with us, seeing how far they've grown. We're really bringing in an agent who's never done Medicare before ever and training them from day one. Say, hey, stick your head down for 2 years in this business, help out as many people as you can, do the right things every day, and you will change your life within 2 years. And you won't even change your life specifically as much, but you will also change your family's life forever and the trajectory of your family's income forever, including you for your spouse and for your kids as well. So it's exciting to see that happen. And it's countless. I don't even know. We're in the thousands probably at this point, where you see somebody come in and all of a sudden they're getting, a new house and a new car, and you can see their kids going off to an expensive college. And you're like, wow, I hope and feel like we had something to do with that by training them how to be smart business owners in the Medicare market within the hierarchy of TLC Insurance Group. And that's the thing that makes us most proud and most excited. And it's awesome.
Yeah, I think in an age of technology too, TLC as a whole still really exemplifies that relationship with the client, taking good care of the client, both at the point of their initial enrollment
Right.
and for years to come, right? It's a relationship that endures. How important is that in the world as it changes with technology?
Well, just knowing the Medicare world itself, that's being a good business owner. You get compensated as much on a renewal person as you do a new sale, switching them from one carrier to another. So we train agents like service is number one. That's your number one priority. We always preach go forward, not backwards in your business. That means keep all the clients you have, whatever that takes, service them to the best of your ability. Keep all of them on the books with you, whether you have to put them to a different carrier, whatever changes happen in that market. But keep the clients, do whatever it takes to service them well and keep them, and then add on new ones. That's called moving forward, not backwards. You don't want to go backwards and lose some clients and add on some new ones. Agents with that mentality are small time thinking. They'll never get to that pinnacle point. So always grow forward, always go back, never grow backwards. And I think that is done through the service. We can take that another level because at every level of agency, whether you're a GA or MGA or FMO or NMA, you take that service to different levels for agents and maybe GAs and some other ones who are producing. That service goes to their agents and their affiliated agents, and they're like, hey, take care of your clients. That's how you're going to grow. And people at our level, that same mentality should go to their agents.
Yeah.
And to the agency managers. Like, we need to service them. We need to take care of them. We need to be there. We need to communicate with them. We need to share every idea we have, because the better we service them, the more loyal they're going to be to us. And so we've been very fortunate to grow forward exponentially each year in agency growth and agency managers because of, the thought process like that. We're only as good as our affiliated agents and managers, period. We're nothing without them. So we want to take care of them as best we can. And that's our only job as the FMO NMA. Taking care of them is helping them grow their business. And that's our number one job. And that's what we're going to do.
That's a perfect segue, Craig, into our last kind of question that we're going to have time for today. And those of you listening or watching this, we're going to get into much more specifics about some of the things that Craig's sharing with us today over our podcast series. And as you look into our comment section, if you want to, we'll put a question in there. we're happy to talk about that in an upcoming episode. But
Yeah.
I want to kind of wind this down with an extension of that last thought. So we know that right now as agents, we're being recruited and marketed like really aggressively.
Yeah.
People are promising the world. They're promising extra money on top of commissions. So what makes TLC special? And I know you've talked about this a little bit, but what do you want agents to hear, both our agents and potential agents? Why TLC?
I would hope if you ask that same question to one of our affiliated agents or managers who's been with us for a while, I hope their answer would be the same. You know, there's a lot of recruiting going on right now. There's a lot of agencies and, you know, conglomerates that are purchasing agencies and buying up. And there's a reason why they're doing that. You know, it's a profitable venture. So if they know they're going to make money, you know, you're pretty much buying now, but you're giving away your future revenue. And that's just something that we personally decided not to do at this time. And we don't see it anytime in the future. But, you know, not saying it's wrong, but, you know, there's a lot of shiny bells and whistles that are laid out there. And sometimes you see the potentially struggling agent in Medicare, or as we would probably better explain it, the one who doesn't work as hard, looking for the easy way out, or sometimes even excuses like, this agent or this producer is better than me because they have this tool and that tool and that tool. Tools don't make sales. You know, marketing makes sales. And that's what we train on. You know, so we have almost every single tool that everybody else does, and every other upline has too. And we have all the shiny objects, and we're constantly adding on new stuff too. But the difference with us is we teach people how to market, we teach people how to sell, because that's what we've done. Bottom line in Medicare, the more people you get in front of, the more you make. You know, and when there's an opportunity, and we kind of train on different opportunities all the time in the Medicare world, we say, you know, everybody's kind of the same. You're all the same, but whoever runs the fastest and works the hardest is going to make the most income, period. Because Medicare is not difficult. What we do is not difficult. Like, we're just helping out people. So the more people you get in front of face to face or over the phone, the more you're going to do, and the more you're going to sell, and the faster you're going to grow. So I think the bottom line, which makes us a little bit different, is, you know, instead of only having all the bells and whistles only, and we get deeper in the weeds with agents and managers. We're going to show you how to be successful. We're going to show you how to make sales. We're going to show you how to help more people. And most importantly, we're going to make you an awesome marketer and teach you how to do this business where you can grow exponentially year after year. But it does ultimately come down to them. We can give any agent or manager all the tools we want. You know, it comes down to work ethic too. So we're like, here's what it takes. Here's what you need. And, you know, we have hundreds and hundreds of agency managers and thousands of agents that can prove that. Like, here's what I did, and they're very successful and changed their trajectory in the Medicare world, maybe even right after they joined TLC, because of the way we look at the business. And I think that's pretty important.
Without a doubt. I mean, I was talking to my wife just the other day about technology and kind of what it's done to us as human beings. And this industry, there's a lot of technology, and there's a lot of entities that try to recruit with a shiny new piece of technology, like you said, which we have. But this is still a really human business.
Yeah.
And I think one thing in my experience that you and the team at TLC have done well is keep it just that. You prioritize the relationships. You build a team of people that both know how to sell. So if I have to answer an agent question, I'm not reading off an FAQ. Yeah. I know it because I've done it, just like you guys have. And you prioritize that family and team culture. So in a very human business, we don't always want to go chase new technology.
Yep.
We want to chase an organization like TLC that prioritizes being human and interacting well and taking care of other humans.
Yeah. And, you know, the newest agent or the oldest agent that's low producing with TLC, they're not forgotten. You know, it's not where we just look at the biggest. You know, we want everybody to succeed. And that's our promise to them day one when they join us. Like, we're going to do whatever it takes to help you grow your business. And you need to look at yourself, no matter how new you are, as an owner of your business, and treat your business like that. Better your business does ultimately is on you. Our job is to help you be as successful as possible and take it to levels that you wouldn't be able to do on your own, or potentially even with somebody else as your upline. That's our job at TLC.
That's exactly how you live it out. So,
Yep.
Craig, thanks for your time. It's fun having this conversation with you today. Looking forward to many more episodes and great information that can go out to both our agent community and those of you that might be listening or watching this that are looking for somebody that takes care of you in the way that we talked here today. Please reach out to us. We'd love that opportunity to tell you the TLC story and to hopefully help you grow your business, because that's what we're all about here at TLC.